These are some important reasons why most people sell their mortgage notes, land trusts, or trust deeds, and why you should probably sell yours also. And I'm just going to read a few of these off to you. The Dodd-Frank Act, and how does it affect me? New rules apply to owner financing. Balloon payments may not be an option, and you might have to involve a mortgage loan originator, depending on the number of properties you own or finance each year. Default. The buyer could stop making payments at any time. You know what that leads to? That leads to foreclosure. If that happens and he doesn't just walk away, you could end up going through the foreclosure process. Repair costs. If you do take back the property for whatever reason, you might end up having to pay for repairs and maintenance, depending on how well the buyer took care of the property. You typically need to own the home free and clear. If you still hold a mortgage, you must get approval from your lender before going forward with the deal. The buyer could stop making payments at any time. Most of the time when buyers default on their loan, they feel bad and just walk away, says real estate professional Bar Getty of Indiana. But if the buyer doesn't leave, you need to go through the foreclosure process. He said, I had to do this once, and it took 3 months and $700 in fees, she explains. You might incur repair costs, depending on how the buyer cared for the property. If you need to take back the house, says Wendy Willou, a real estate professional from Minneapolis. The taxes could be very complicated. Monthly or regular need to keep track of payments. Yeah, you're going to have to keep track of those payments coming in. A home seller, which is you could end up feeling like a debt collector if the buyer is disorganized or worse. Some home sellers, like yourself, hire third parties to handle the payment collection. But of course, this also costs money. Possible need to foreclosure. The buyer's financial situation could change for the worse, or the seller may not have gotten the buyer's full or accurate credit or employment picture initially. You, the seller, would, upon the buyer's default, either need to negotiate a different arrangement or initiate the costly and effective, often lengthy, process of foreclosure. Possible abandonment of the purchase. The seller, you, could agree to a small down payment from the buyer to assist in the sale, only to have the buyer abandon the property because of the minimal investment that was at stake. Somebody buying a house, I think you need to put down more than $500. You might want to go for at least $5,000. Need to pay off existing mortgage in full. Before turning around and financing it, a seller, you, who is financing the entire purchase, will need to pay off the existing mortgage first. In a normal sale, the seller, you, uses the proceeds of the sale to pay off the existing bank loan. Time required to assess the credit worthiness of the borrower. You will need to handle various tasks that a bank usually does, such as obtaining credit reports and financial information from the buyer and reviewing it for credit worthiness. The fees. In order to arrange this deal, you may need to hire an attorney, pay an escrow company, pay recording fees, and more. The tax obligation. Interest income on mortgage loan is taxable along with other income. So you're collecting monthly payments and then you're taxed on that money on top of that. All your money is tied up in the real estate. Once again, you're collecting monthly payments instead of just getting a lump sum. The seller, you, is paid over the length of the mortgage instead of one lump sum. If the buyer defaults, talked about that earlier, you, the seller, you're left holding the bag. Folks, these are some reasons to sell your mortgage note today, or land trust, or trust deed. You don't want to get stuck holding the bag or dealing with any of these problems right here. So what you want to do, you want to come to getcashforyourmortgagenote.com and get a quote. Before you get a quote, check out our note buying process, what we buy, and for more information, if you're still planning on holding on to your note, check out our note owner's manual. Every note owner needs to have a manual, a guideline book. You don't want to just wing it and just start collecting payments, all willy-nilly. You don't know what you're doing. You need a note owner's manual. And we also have some frequently asked questions that you might have. But once again, go to getcashforyourmortgagenote.com, review the website, look at all the information, and get a quote today.